Hi, this is Ann Holmes with the No Sewing Until Quilted project. I'm working on a design to enter a quilt into the National Quilt Museum. What's old is new. Every year they've had a competition for several years running, and this year the theme is oak leaf and reel. For my interpretation of this design, I thought of an oak tree and dancers. In downtown Asheville, we have some bronze dancers in front of our Civic Center. They were designed by Gary Alsam. So I went downtown and did some photographs of the dancers, the back of the dancers. And so then I looked on the internet for trees, for oak trees, and I found pictures of them, and they look kind of short and stubby. So what I did is sliced my tree horizontally and then spread it out to the proportions I want. The minimum size is 50 inches, and it can't be longer than 80 inches in any direction. So I played around with my placement. I have him stepping into my design. Okay. So I have him just stepping into the photograph, and I was inspired by this fabric that I bought over a year ago with the stars and like dawn colors. I just bought 1 yard of it and split it in half. I have the second half on my bulletin board, but I wanted to show you that this fabric inspired the name. I'm gonna call it, I think, Dance Till Dawn. So in my internet search for oak leaves or oak trees and leaves, I found some nice things that are inspiring my drawing here. I love the way this is open in the canopy, and this real shape I'm using as a star up there. And this was a nice branch that I found. And I used some clear tracing paper and traced over that. This is just clear plastic. And then I took it to my printer and just printed a white copy. And then I took it downtown to a printer that does blueprints. And he enlarged it. I, told him to make it 3 feet wide. And now I don't want to represent every leaf like that. I'm not copying this. I'm using that as inspiration, and I want the leaves to kind of look like oak leaves, but I'm not doing every leaf. And so to do that, what I did is I cut and paste some things. I attached the branch to the tree, and then I use whiteout and my magic marker. And what I wanted to do was soften the oak shape, because we're going to turn all of these pieces. So for instance, over here, this is okay, that's going to be fine. But this is pretty wiggly, so I'm just going to soften those lines a little bit, like that. And then I take the white out and use white out to erase those lines. So I just kind of soften the shape of the leaves. I have and this might be a little pointy right there too. I mean, we could do that. We'll just leave that. We can do some of these, but we don't want everything to be very hard to do. And as you get higher in the tree, you don't see the individual leaves. You see just kind of backgrounds. And then I started playing around with an assortment of fabrics. I just pulled things out. This probably isn't going to work, but I just went to my stash to find some possible fabrics to use in our canopy of the trees. And then as we're working on this, I wanted some of the sky to show through the leaves. So I've marked that with like a background around here in a few places and identified some leaves, background. And then the other thing you do is when you're playing this, you always have to attach your image to the background in some way this is pretty wiggly here. So we're just going to soften that, just like that. And then I use whiteout. Anyway, it takes concentration to do this. I got up early this morning and started to try to look closely and figure out what is what. And you can see it's dangerous working with whiteout. So wear your old clothes, because I get to leaning over my work table and it's kind of messy. But you can use rubbing alcohol to take some of this whiteout off. And then, you know, you get kind of crazy looking at this. I still have some wiggles to take out up there. Then you can come over to your tree. I put a couple leaves like they're sprouting out of the side of the tree. And so I use a pencil and an eraser here and just kind of connect these images. But these will all be different scraps to give the color of the tree. So then you can just play around with your pencil. I want the sides of the tree to be a darker fabric and some lighter in the middle. They're dancing till dawn, but I also am thinking of a light shining around them or on the tree. So I want to give the tree some contour, so I'm going to have darker pieces of fabric on the so here you can just kind of play around with different shapes, and then if you like them, then I go for my whiteout. I don't like that line, so I use an eraser and erase. I like these pearl pink erasers. Just play around with a pencil until you like the design, and then go from there. And the only other thing I wanted to tell you is that I've added some mountains to kind of divide this, but I'm not going to move my drawing right now. I'm just supported the top with some magic marker. And just let it hang off the edge of the table while I'm working. And you can see that I've divided the space with a mountain range, and that's where my dawn is going to start coming up over the mountains, and I'm going to have a little orange above the mountains. Anyway, that's my plan right now. We'll see how it works out.